Good morning, nation. What is going on today? We have, boom, Wednesday, April 3rd. Keith Bilous sitting here in the lab. We got a hook for you. Shannon Houchin joining us here this morning, as well as Jesse Marseille. Marseille. Good morning, Nicole.
Good morning.
How are you today? Good, you?
Good.
Awesome. I'm excited that we're here today. We're clearly in conversational sync.
I'm like, I'll just stop talking.
Those of you tuning in and laughing already, well, we're just starting the show. So, hey, we got a hook. Shannon Houchin, Nicole.
I saw that.
I know. She's like in the green room right now. I'm excited to. So last night I was planning the show and I was not going to lie to you. I was kind of stressing a little bit about it. I was like, okay, I got to get segments created. And then I see this email come in and Shannon booked for the first segment. I'm like, yes. We have an awesome guest to talk to for a few minutes. So we're going to bring Shannon in here in a few moments. So she's the Peach Lady.
Yes.
Good music. Yeah. I don't know if you guys have
song in my head all morning. Like go into the country, getting a lot of peaches. You know that one?
Yes.
It's been in my head.
And you know, I've had hundreds of guests on this show, Nicole, and there's been a few that have had impact, significant impact. You're probably one of them because you're here with me still. And then along the way, I meet the Peach woman. And as I'm trying to build this complicated media business, I meet this Shannon Houchin. She's like, yeah, I sell peaches for a living. I'm like, oh, yeah. Started with one peach stand. Now I got 1,000 peach stands making millions of dollars selling peaches.
Awesome.
It is awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear more.
Yes, we're going to bring Shannon in a few moments. Jesse, creator of Spotlight today, Jesse Marseille. Nicole.
Yes.
So coming up at the bottom of the hour, we're going to talk to Jesse, invite him in. Jesse, I was struck by his story yesterday. He quit his tech sales job, and Jesse is jumping into the world of being a creator, and he started a podcast telling personal stories. He's got a personal story, so Jesse's joining us at the bottom of the hour. And then, of course, the hook today, Nicole. We've been talking about it all week. But do you, Jeff?
Maybe.
So
if I do, I don't do it on purpose.
So if we have any friends that are starting with the name Jeff, well, you might be called attention here this morning. So we're going to talk Jeffing as well this morning while we welcome in our dear friend, the Peach Lady, Shannon Houchin.
Hey there. Good morning.
Thank you for joining Keith and Nicole, Mornings in the Lab today, our first segment morning show guest.
Well, that is very auspicious. I love it.
Yes. Yeah. So for those that don't know, you are joining us where this morning?
It is pre-dawn here in Fort Worth, Texas, where the West begins.
Where the West begins. Yeah.
Yeah.
So nation, as I said earlier, so Shannon joined me in the lab about a month ago or so, and I'll make sure that you guys get a hook to, you get a link to the show I did with Shannon about a month ago. We sat down for an hour, I think a little bit over an hour, and we talked about her business, her peach business. And Shannon runs peach stands, and her story is amazing. So anybody right now listening to this going, what do I want to do today? I want to start a business. Well, I think Shannon Houchin might have one. Go watch the show with Keith and Shannon. You're going to leave that show in an hour inspired to go start a peach business or a plum business or a grape business. You know?
Yeah. It'll make you happier than probably anything you've ever done to earn money.
Yeah. Talk about that, Shannon. Talk about the happiness of selling peaches.
Well, it is, I equate it to, there are certain things like psychologically that make humans happy. Babies are one, typically dogs, ice cream, the blue sky with clouds, and peaches. So
yes.
when you inherently have this thing that's already primed and pre-wired in the human brain to make you happy, it is literally a no-brainer. It is the easiest thing in the world to sell. You don't there is no hard sell. Because people are already happy, when they see it, just like with dogs and blue skies and rainbows and ice cream.
Did you know that when you started your business?
I did not. I thought it was really silly, just like probably most people do. I'm like, peaches, whatever. Like, peaches are cool. I love them. But like most people, I can't ever find any ripe ones at the grocery store, right? So they're not that appealing. So I really didn't care and I wasn't convinced. But then when I spent the summer in South Carolina and I saw how happy and giddy and childlike, like ripe peaches made people, I was like, okay, this is it. Here it is. It's almost like a sin business. Y'all familiar with what sin businesses are?
Yes.
Well, gambling, right? Alcohol bars, tobacco. They're all these sin businesses because they're heavily taxed. Peaches should be heavily taxed because they make people so addictively happy.
Yeah.
So, Nicole, if we do our job really well, Shannon Houchin is going to have an extremely competitive market this year and next, right, as we grow our show into the biggest talk show on YouTube and LinkedIn. Because all I'm going to do is brag about Shannon's peach business, and people are going to start hearing about this. Oh my God! So I can sell plums, I can sell grapes, I can sell peaches, I can sell happiness, because Shannon comes on our show, Nicole, and just spills the secrets. Just spills the secrets, everybody.
Yeah, no gatekeeping here.
No, but that's the point of this. So if you're getting out of bed this morning, you're looking for motivation and excitement, or you're stuck, or you're overcomplicating your business in front of you, man, just sell happiness, right, Shannon?
Yes,
that's exactly right. Every day.
Selling happiness. So, and Nicole, and here's something else inspiring. So I don't know if you know this either, but Shannon's business partner is her son.
Oh yes, you did mention that. That is so cool.
Yeah. Master Finnegan, he is 21. He's in Colorado right now. He's his junior year at CU Boulder. And he was just here for spring break. And actually we did a lot of work on the peach business because we're in our what I call CEO time. So technically it's off season because January through March there ain't a lot growing. So this is the time, like when you clean up the tents and you make sure everything's repaired and it's all, all of your equipment is ready to go. And then you start scouting locations and negotiating with property owners. And then you start forecasting. So I've been looking at and talking to the orchards about the forecast for this year. This is going to be the best peach year we've had in many years because we've had a high amount of chill hours. Peach trees need chill hours, so they need it to be cold, but not too cold. And then there's been enough rain. So the problem we have sometimes, especially in Texas, is we get in a season of drought, and it can be so extended for years and years and years. But the orchards here are reporting best peach season in a long, long time. So this is going to be like a banner year. We're going to make some money, and we're going to make some people happy.
I mean, life doesn't get much better than that,
right? And Nicole, so one of the quotes that will live on in infamy here on Live in the Lab is Shannon quoted her business as an ATM. And I was like, wait a second, ATM? She's like, oh yeah, I just sell peaches and it prints cash. So it's just nodding away.
Yep. Yeah, we just decide, at the beginning of the season, we decide how much money do we want to make this year? Okay. And so we just put that into the blueprint and then it just spits out cash. And it just tells us, hire this many people, have this many stands, sell this many peaches, work this many hours. Yeah. And then boom, we have cash at the end of the season. We have, it is literally, and then you get your cash.
How long is y'all season?
Peach season typically starts around the mid to late part of May and then goes all the way till 1st of September. If we go west in the US, it could be the end of September, 1st of October.
Awesome.
Nicole, you don't know this, but when I wrapped up my show with Shannon, I've been giving a lot of thought to the show, and a couple of things, and I'm being serious here, Shannon, that struck me is, and I would say that you taught me through our show some things that I need to create some awareness around. And I'm doing it right now by connecting with every human being because you did it. You're like, well, yeah, Keith, I go to hyper local markets and I go and connect with the human beings. And I stand in a local community and I shake their hands. I smile in front of them. I meet them. I put a face on the name. Then they buy my peaches. And I'm thinking to myself, well, wait a minute. If Shannon's going across the country to hyper local markets, Keith and Nicole wake up every single day with 1 billion people on LinkedIn. And I'm like, I can either go choose and stand in front of an ocean and just try to broadcast out into an ocean where I just don't know if there's anybody there, Or we can go to LinkedIn where there's a billion people and go start interacting with them and go start meeting them one by one. And I'll tell you, Shannon, every video that I send, I'm thinking about you and your hyper local markets, shaking hands, having a smile on your face, connecting with the human being locally, and then you're seeing the results, aren't you?
Oh, yes, yes. What I found we've been doing this 10 years now, and it's increasingly obvious that people are starved, literally starved for engagement and connection. You know, we have people, complete random strangers, constantly, hundreds of them a day, approach our stand, and they just talk. They just talk to us about their life, their kids, their experience, their childhood. They just want to tell us stories. And so basically we are like armchair psychologists, you know, and we're listening to people's stories, and then we are, you know, engaging back with them, letting them know that we see them, we physically see you, we hear you, and we're summarizing what they're saying. And then we're understanding them. We're providing what they're asking for. They may not articulate it quite that way, but they're asking for communication and engagement and understanding their needs. And people are starved for that connection. And whether they be right here in my local community, or I meet them somewhere out on the road, that's what they want. And when you make those kinds of connections, and you make a human feel a certain way, they will remember you. They will remember you forever. So if you make them feel good, Keith, if you leave that lasting impression, they will always remember you. And hopefully, you know, that goes out into the world and, you know, multiplies. But that's what it is. It's really obvious that people just want to be seen, heard, and understood for something as simple as, you know, buying a peach. I mean, it could be buying a car or a house or buying a business or selling a business. But if you understand that's what they're looking for, the formula framework becomes pretty easy.
That's what I'm so struck by. The brilliance of what you're doing here, Shannon Houchin. You get it, you know. And what I also appreciate about it is I'm watching your activities on social as well since we've met, and you equally. So Nicole Shannon's also a social media marketer, and she gets it there as well, right? So you and I joke about social. We all walk up to a person and say something and run away. Yeah, and we walk up, we post something, we walk away, hope somebody's gonna like it. Yet Shannon's like, well, no. You got to stand in the community. You got to interact with the people. You got to listen to what they have to say. And once they like you, they're going to pull $1 out of their pocket and give you some money for that peach. And you're going to make 98 cents margin on that thing just by listening, right? Like really, like you're making an exaggerated point. But I love the metaphors of connecting and engagement locally and how that represents to engaging within social media platforms. They're one and the same.
Yeah, it translates very easily. And I stumbled upon this kind of accidentally, you know, online. And so I grew into the hyper local marketing thing. I've always been doing copywriting and ad work, agency work, long time ago. But when I started to create this fan base or community online, and I introduced, you know, myself, my son, what we were about, and then all the kids. So I have about any given summer, there can be 25 to 100 kids, you know, who are working in the peach stands with us. And I name them, I call them out, you know, one by one, and I introduce them on social media, whatever platform. And it becomes that all of our customers look for these kids. They find their favorite one. These kids are like 15 to 25, right? And so people will be like, is Hughes working today? Hughes isn't here. Well, I'll wait. When is Hughes here next? Okay, I'll come back on Wednesday. Or his brother Walker. Where's Walker? Is Walker home from, you know, Boulder? So it becomes where the customers, you know, extend their family to us. Because we just kind of lay it out there. We're genuine, we're authentic, we mess up, we do good, we listen to them. So it develops a high level of trust, reputation, authority. And then we have this huge extended family now of all these people in Dallas, Fort Worth who know us and love us, and they know all the kids by their names. It's so It's so fun to watch, and the kids feel like little rock stars, you know? Like, oh my gosh, they know my name. I never met them before.
That's really cool. How fulfilling is that, Shannon?
I mean, it's lovely to see because the community, and this is what it tells you, people are good. No matter how much bad news there is, no matter how much negativity, people are inherently good and they want to do good. And so when I introduce them to all the kids who are working the peach stands, they rally around because their parents, their grandparents, their aunts and uncles, right? And so they feel very protective of our community. And so they're always looking out. They're always, you know, engaging. They're always giving me feedback. And they're always advocating on behalf of, you know, our business. And so you can just feel it in them. People are good and they want to do their part. And if you give them an opportunity to do their part, they will step up to that challenge.
That's exceptional. Shannon, we're wrapped. So I'm going to be diligent today on our show. I'm going to keep things into the certain segments. We're wrapping up our first segment here with Shannon Houchin from Roadside Republic. I'm really, really pleased that she joined us here today. Business Athlete Nation, LinkedIn Nation, YouTube Nation. You know, Shannon can help you if you're looking to do something this summer and you want to get into business. She's got the Roadside Republic formula. She'll invite you in. She'll teach you how to make some money, work with her son. I think I'm speaking about that right, correctly, Shannon, right? You got the Roadside Revolution. If you want to get involved in listen, if you're listening to our show right now and you're thinking of what you're doing this spring or this summer, Shannon's got a business opportunity for you. Right?
Yep. You needs $200. $200.
That's it.
That was amazing.
I'm telling you, Nicole, we're doing the wrong thing.
I know. Well, I'm trying to think because I live up here. We have a bunch of pears up here, but there are peaches towards the end of the season. And as someone who doesn't really like peaches, there is something about a fuzzy, bright peach. And so the feelings that you're talking about, and so I'm like, oh, there's a lot of local growers up here, so we might have to talk.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Shannon. And Shannon, Nicole was in the farming business before. Sorry. Still figuring. So Shannon was, Nicole was a farmer before. So you have somebody there that can help you out.
Yeah. I did the marketing part of it. I didn't really grow anything, but yes, I was there and involved.
Well, I don't grow anything either. I can't grow anything. Yeah. But I can sell some stuff.
Yes, same. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're connecting business on the air. And if you want to join the Shannon Houchin trend, and here's the other thing too, Nation, I'll give you guys a secret. So Keith and Nicole are growing this show. We're growing this into the biggest show on LinkedIn. Shannon gets it. She's like, oh yeah, I see these guys. I see what they're doing. She's like, I met this Keith guy. I met Nicole. I see they're working hard. I see they're putting the time in. And she's like, oh, I'm going to get it on day one. I'm going to be part of the train because Shannon knows in a year from now, we're still going to be here. And Shannon knows in 6 months from now, we're still going to be here. So Shannon's like, I want to get in early. I want to start talking to these guys. And what's happening is that Shannon's seeing the kind of big fans we are. And we're like, yes, jump on Shannon's train, jump on Roadside Revolution and rock and roll. So I'm sorry, Roadside Republic, the revolution that she's driving with peaches. So Shannon Houchin, you're welcome here in the lab every day, any day you like.
Well, that's wonderful. I appreciate being OG status.
Yes, you are.
There's all kinds of stuff to talk about. At some point, chat with Nicole about races and marathons.
Yes. Well, this is great. So we're going to have Shannon back. Shannon might even sit down with Nicole on Bubbles and Biz. I know they're trying to get something together here. We got Jesse Marseille coming up here in a few moments here in the lab. This is awesome. This is exactly the kind of show I was wanting to put together. Have guests coming in, guests coming out, inspiring others. So if you're listening right now, go back to the start of the show. If you're looking for a business to do, Shannon Houchin's got either a business opportunity for you or she will inspire you to get moving with something not very complicated. So Shannon Houchin, you can find her on LinkedIn. You can find her on Instagram. You can find her at roadsiderepublic.com. And you, of course, will see her in the feeds. Shannon, any last words from you before we say goodbye?
Make it a great day and just be aware that happiness is progress. So do something that moves your life forward today, just even if it's a baby step.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Shannon, thanks for hopping in. Enjoy your day. Enjoy the peaches. And let's bring you back here in the lab for a round 2. Let's get into marathon running training. And I'd like to know how that affects your business side of things. I'm for sure Nicole would like to as well. So let's get you back. Sound like a plan?
All right. Yes. Thanks, guys. Have an excellent day.
Thank you, Shannon. Take care.
Great to meet you.
Bye-bye.
Awesome. That was awesome.
Oh, she's amazing.
You guys got to connect. You guys absolutely have to connect. And I would highly recommend you get on to Bubbles and Biz. You guys sit down, have a good chat. Maybe have some peach wine, peach champagne.
Ooh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yes. That would be fun.
Coming up, Jessie Marseille is going to join us here in a few minutes. But before, Nicole, we get to that, we got to talk Jeffing, because that was the hook today. I had Jeffing. Do you want to sneak for a break to get some coffee, or are you good?
What if we have time? I will go fill up, but if we don't, that's fine too.
You sneak away for a minute, grab yourself a coffee. I'll get the next segment set up.
Okay.
We'll talk some Jeffing. We got the accountability check-in, and then we're going to bring Jessie Marseille in to wrap up the last half an hour of the show. Okay?
Awesome. Okay, perfect.
Back in a second. All right, we're back. Nicole's just topping up her coffee. She'll be back here in a quick minute. Jessie Marseille is joining us here in less than 7 minutes to talk about his journey as a creator in our Creator Spotlight. Stumbled upon Jessie's profile yesterday, and I became enamored with it. And so he's a storyteller. He's got a podcast called Storytelling at Scale. Jessie's recently left I believe, a corporate career. Now he's on a journey of creating great content. So we're looking to highlight Jessie. He's also joining us from Oregon. I think just down the street from Nicole. So Jess is going to join us here in a few moments. I see him patiently waiting in the green room with Shake and Jess. Looking forward to welcoming you here in a moment. And of course, Shannon Houchin just left the lab here. She's going back to grow some peaches. So that was our first guest of the segment this morning with Shannon Houchin. And Nicole's just getting settled in. Listen, you guys are all watching this happen in front of you here. We are creating a show right in front of you guys. We're creating segments right in front of you guys, and I'm inviting you in right now. Get it on the ground floor. Like Shannon, OG. I can assure you we are going to give you a lot to those that want to partner and collaborate with Keith and Nicole. We have big visions, big plans for this thing, and no, we're not getting paid right now, and we're okay with that because we're building an audience, but we also know we're creating a lot of value for our listeners and for potential partners along the way. So I invite you, if you're like, hey, I like what these guys are up to, I like what they're saying, I like what they're having to say, come knock on Nicole's door, come knock on my door. We'd love to have you join the party. Nicole, accountability check-in coming up in a second, but before we also do that, 2 quick things. If you have an audacious goal that you want to put on the table, 3 weeks ago, Nicole stated hers. Nicole, what's your goal?
My first ultra marathon on June 22nd.
Yeah, so we've been documenting that. We're going to document it every single day. We're checking in with Nicole, keeping her inspired, keeping her accountable. So if you have a big goal, you're like, hey, I want to achieve this goal and I want to put myself out there, come join us. Come join Keith and Nicole. Come join us on Friday, make your announcement. And then what you're going to do is you're now going to be part of Business Athlete Nation. And you pop in, pop out. We're going to promote you. We're going to celebrate you. We're going to support you. We're going to help you ensure you hit your goal. That's our ambition here. So Audacious Goal Friday is coming up this Friday. I invite you if you have somebody to join. Secondly, if you have a LinkedIn profile, Nicole Bernard, that you want to have improved, who should they be calling?
Naomi. Or us too, and we'll get in touch with Naomi.
Exactly. So we're also working on a segment called the LinkedIn Teardown, where we invite a guest in and we're like, hey, I want to get my profile teared down. Awesome. Naomi will come on the show with us. She'll do it for free. So she charges for this stuff, but she's like, no, I like you guys. I want to give my Canadian American friends some free stuff. So Naomi will join the show. She'll join you. She'll rip apart your profile with the complete goal of making it better.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She did it with mine. I'm working on mine, and Nicole's working on hers. But that will be something where I invite you, if you want to get your profile improved, come join the show. Sit down with myself, Naomi, and Nicole to improve your profile. And then last but not least, if you have a creator, Nicole, that you want to celebrate or nominate, what should they do?
Yeah.
They should tell us.
They should tell us so we can feature them
and
hopefully get them on.
Exactly. Yes. So our again, the goal here is every single day we're going to do a creator spotlight around the bottom of the hour. So highlighting creators from LinkedIn so would we like to have Justin Welsh on here? Absolutely. The guy has accomplished some incredible things on LinkedIn. But maybe this is a place where we can celebrate people that are trying to build their career in social, right? Or trying to get a start in social. Right? So if you have a creator, you like their content and you think they need the exposure, send them our way, because here's what happens, Nicole. You know, we create content with them. We package it up instantly. We distribute it on the socials. You like it and share it. I like it and share it. The guest likes it and share it. Their network likes it and share it. And before you know it, massive network effect happening. Exactly. Yep. And we saw it 2 days ago with Sean Mason. Yeah. We had Sean on the show. I had coffee in the morning. I saw Sean's announcement. Keith and Nicole had Sean on the show. We created content. Sean exited the show. Within 20 minutes of the show exiting, Sean had content from our conversation to distribute across the world about his announcement. Magic. Awesome. Magic. Okay. Running a few minutes behind before we bring in Jesse. So I want to talk quick accountability check-in, Nicole. Challenges, they don't knock. They barge in uninvited. But when they do, we have a choice, don't we? When we have a challenge in front of us.
Yep, always.
We can react, which is going to shape us. We can have perseverance, which is not a choice. But every day has its own set of fights. Small wins lead to big victories, right?
Yes.
Yes. So challenges don't knock. They're going to show up. The idea is anticipating that they're going to show up and getting ahead of them so you can get ahead of that challenge you know is inevitably coming. We both know, Nicole Bernard, that life's not a series of just rainbows and cookies and every day's going to be great.
No. It'd be awesome if it was, but...
Right. So it's anticipating the challenge, getting ahead of it, and jumping on top of it. So that's today's accountability check-in. If you're looking for motivation, I invite you to check out the feed on LinkedIn on the accountability check-in. Every single morning, I drop it at 7:16 a.m. Central Time, 8:16 Eastern Time, just for something to put in your head to keep you motivated and excited and give you something to think about to start your day.
Yep.
Okay, Nicole, Jeffing. Do you Jeff?
No, don't think so.
Do you Jeff? So what is Jeffing? I am going to tell you what is Jeffing, because I didn't know what Jeffing is, and I thought that Jeffing was an appropriate topic for today's for our type of conversation here in the lab, because it is this idea, Nicole Bernard, of walking and running at once. So it's a walk run. It's a walk run. So if you're going, right? It's not a jog. But I was looking at you and I thought about this, because if you Jeff, and you probably do Jeff, but Jeffing might sound like a combination of jogging and effing. But while many runners will have no doubt found themselves cursing with the odd F word, and I found this in Adventure magazine, Jeffing has a very different origin. It was started by American runner Jeff Galloway. He's an Olympian. He's the author, and you might know this, of the Galloway's book on running. And Galloway is a big believer in the benefits of the run-walk coaching technique.
Interesting.
Yeah. So Jeffing is an activity that mixes running and walking in one improvement. And it's largely used to improve performance for both newcomers, myself, and seasoned runners, yourself, and especially useful, Nicole Bernard, for longer events such as ultra marathons.
Okay.
Yeah. So I thought of you for Jeffing.
Yeah. So is it just like you're running and then you walk and then you run again? Because if so, then yes, I'm definitely a Jeffer. But
yes, that's exactly it. So Jeffing has similar attributes to Fartlek training, where you complete
training.
Yeah, you don't know Fartlek?
No.
I think my kids and my wife might think that I practice Fartlek sometimes.
Is that Canadian?
Is that what it is? Yeah. Maybe Fartlek happens after too many burgers. I crushed 3 last night.
Mine was amazing too, by the way.
Yes. We didn't get to our cheeseburger conversation. No, we didn't. We'll talk about cheeseburgers tomorrow. We got to talk Jesse's creator journey here in a few moments. So from Fartlek training to Jeffy training to cheeseburgers. But yes, Fartlek training, Nicole Bernard, is a complete mix of faster or more intensely paced periods of running. And Fartlek is used to improve anaerobic fitness.
Okay.
Where Jeffing is used to promote aerobic fitness. Okay. Endurance. So the way that it works is that you run intervals and then you walk intervals. Run intervals, walk. So I think that you probably jeffed during your David Robbins challenge last week.
Yeah. Well, I must have jeffed yesterday too, because I did sprints. Like on my route, I did like the whole sprint some, walk a little bit, then jog, then sprint. So sounds like the Jeff.
Sounds like you jeffed. There you go. Yeah. So there's our 720 segment this morning. Do you jeff? If you are aspiring to be an ultra marathoner, if you're just looking to get into running, like myself, and that's again why I thought this was appropriate, because we're trying to create something relatable to everybody. So Keith's just starting running. Nicole is on her way to doing her first ultra marathon. Jeffing is something that we both can do together and both help really achieve our goals. Jeffing helps me get started, and Jeffing helps Nicole get further.
Yeah, I love it. I'm gonna check out his book too, by the way. I've never heard of it.
Yeah, so yeah, by Jeff Galloway. He's an American runner.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you Americans are great with your geography and history, and I love it.
Thank you.
Jesse Marseille. I got Jesse laughing on this one too.
Oh yeah, no, I'm coming in hot. I mean, this Jeffing conversation is hilarious because you're revealing something about me I didn't even know exist. I'm a classic Jeffer, and I'm good. I'm glad I'm in a safe space. It's very comfortable to be here.
You are in a safe space. Jesse Marseille joining us in our creator spotlight. He's joining us all the way from Eugene, Oregon, just down the road from Nicole.
Yeah, just a couple days of Jeffing to get there. I mean, it's amazing because my career path has been walking towards some North Star and then sprinting in random directions. So this concept of Jeffing is extremely relatable, both from an exercise and life direction perspective.
That is spectacular.
Well, and you're in a big running area too. U of O right there. Like
this is like the running capital. And look, I jeff around a bit, but I'm more of a dabbler. I've never run a marathon or anything like that, but you know, we might make some progress over the next few months now that we have a new regime.
Yes. Regime, I love it.
There you go. There you go. So Jesse Marseille, our creator spotlight today. I want to tell Nation how this all comes together because I'm inviting all of you to join the party. Jesse and I stumbled across each other last night on LinkedIn, and I think he stumbled across a post. And he knocked on my door. He's like, Keith, I like the work you're doing. I went and looked at his stuff. I'm like, oh my goodness, I love the work you're doing. Why don't you join us for coffee? So he's like, yes, I'll join you for coffee. So we exchanged a couple video messages. And now Jesse's here less than 12 hours later on the show with us.
I love it.
So Jesse, what struck me, Nicole, is when I read his about. And, you know, I'll kind of summarize this and then we'll flip it over to Jess to tell his story here. But you know, he got into sales 10 years ago. He was selling tech sales, went through a health scare, recognized that wasn't for him anymore. Something had to change. He decided to become a storyteller. And I think it was 3 weeks ago, Jess, you turned your back on the past and you started your new journey with the Storytelling at Scale podcast. Am I correct with that?
Yeah, you've got the narrative down. I mean, so I like to tell people I got into sales to pay for my music habit. As a young 20-year-old, my options for jobs were work for the local moving company, which, you know, I experimented with briefly, try painting houses, gave that a try. I was like, I think I can do something to make a little bit more money if it has commissions involved. And so that's how I got into sales, and one thing led to another. I mean, my first job, I was selling residential solar panels, and eventually got into technology a few years later, and did that for a while. And I like to say life catches up with you. I mean, one moment you're doing something to earn a little bit of money, the next moment you're working 12 hours a day, flying across the country all the time, and it's totally enveloping your life. And that wasn't my intention at all. I mean, you know, when I was a kid and someone said, what do you want to do when you grow up? It was like, well, I want to sell enterprise HR platforms to Fortune 500 companies. This was not one of my defined dreams. I wanted to play music. I wanted to be an athlete. I wanted to do things like that. And I had this realization that I kept postponing who I wanted to be. It was this conversation with myself and this inner dialogue of, well, you know, next year I'll have enough money saved up that I'll have some runway that I can start my own business. And, you know, you would set some arbitrary number. And I noticed that that number got bigger the older I got. So when I was 20, the idea of having, you know, $10,000 in your bank account was like, well, you're absolutely rich. Of course you can start a business. And then you're 23 and that number is twice as high. And then you're 26 and that number is twice as high. And then, right. So as I started getting into my 30s, it was like, look, I wasn't even ready for a midlife crisis. I was having a quarter life crisis, and it just kept hitting me. At the same time, I'm working my butt off, completely unbalanced lifestyle, drinking on the weekends because I'm so stressed out by work. And I give myself this stress-induced condition that actually lands me in the hospital. And this happens. You think I'd learned my lesson the first time. This happened 5, 6, 7 times. Started putting me out of work. My wife is going, you're crazy. You're off your rocker. You got to figure something out. And so it's this wake up call eventually where you go, okay, I'm tired of getting sick. And then I got laid off, and I go, I'm getting laid off from a job I don't even like. What am I doing here? Yeah. It's time to start my own thing. So, you know, this company and this project, Storytelling at Scale, formally started 3 weeks ago. But what's funny is I actually incorporated the LLC about a year ago. So it's very interesting how you start putting things in motion even before you're ready. And then all of a sudden it hits the fan and you realize, okay, I'm doing this. I'm all in now.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You are all in. So when you say all in, what does that mean to Keith and Nicole?
That's a great question. Yeah, this concept of all in, I forget where I got the term from. I mean, we've all heard it, but somebody on a podcast or a book really highlighted it. Going all in means that you are 100% dedicated to the project, to the craft, without compromise. So there were a lot of things that I worked really hard at, as I mentioned. I think a lot of people have this experience. Working long hours does not mean that you are all in, because you can work really hard at something, but you're not spiritually, emotionally, psychologically aligned with it. And when you're not all in, even if you never say it out loud or admit it to yourself, there is a voice in your head that you will not be able to escape from. That is a voice of the truth, which is whispering in your ear, buddy, you should be doing something else. And so it's really hard to go all in on something that you feel compromised on. You have to be aligned with it.
100%. I love that.
I do too. I think I can align with that because the light went on for me perhaps in the last couple of weeks. And, you know, once Nicole and I started this morning show and we started getting in front of more people and people started interacting, the light was clearly, it went on in my head, which is okay. I need to do something about this instead of just kind of pretending in my head that I want to do something about it. So I made the announcement. We're off to create this mission of this big talk show, right? Because what you just said, which was, I'm either going to go in or I either got to go all in or I just can't do this 98%. Right? And what struck me, Jesse, in your profile is your mission. And this is what I read this and I was like, Jesse, come on my show. It was Nicole. Jesse's mission is to highlight people and stories that we all can learn from. What I liked was next, not perfect stories about perfect people with perfect businesses, but stories about real people who are trying their best to build something that means something to them. And what a wonderful way to bring in the beginning of the chat today with Shannon Houchin, right? Because Shannon's not selling peaches, she's selling happiness, right? A real human being going to little communities around the United States selling peaches, selling happiness. Right?
Yeah, well, she was awesome, and I mean, she could have delivered a speech about my business for me. The two words that came up a bunch were storytelling and connection, and that's exactly right. Is I didn't want to storytell from an anonymous perspective about a person that I don't feel connected with. Part of my goal here is to find resonance and build rapport with people and build relationships with people through the process of having this podcast conversation. And that's been such a joy for me. I mean, when I was in sales, it's hilarious, guys. Like, I would be on a sales call with somebody, and 30 minutes into it, you know, you're doing your discovery questions, and there's this kind of formula for it. You uncover the business problem and all of that. And I'm just going, you know, I'd rather talk to you and ask you about how your week was, how your kids are, what you've been up to recently, how you're feeling about it. And it's like a sales call is all of the conversational rapport without the meaning. Typically, that's how it felt for me. And I go, okay, well, how can I have a business that allows me to focus in on the meaning and the connection and the person, and I don't have to worry about the business part of the conversation at all? And this was the path that presented itself.
Yes. So now we're all just figuring out who's going to pay us money to hear us talking to people.
Right. Yeah.
But I will say that to your point, Jesse, what I've discovered through Live in the Lab, what I've discovered through doing the morning show with Nicole, is people want to hear and people want to be part of a conversation. And we know that, and there's a reason morning radio has existed forever. And there's a reason why morning radio still exists today, right? Because people wake up in the morning, they have a routine, and the olden days, you turned the radio on. In today's day, you turn social media on and you get into your networks, and people want to connect. And I'm watching the numbers. I'm watching the activity. I'm watching people come and say, hey, I want to connect with you and Nicole. And Jesse, you're going to see the same thing happen. Keep showing up every single day, inviting wonderful people into your world, and people are going to want to keep hearing your stories.
Yeah, well, it's absolutely true, and I've already felt it. The moment I changed my whole LinkedIn branding and profile from being a employee that was not that emotionally invested in my product to being a founder, being a leader, someone that's clearly invested in what they're doing, the level of response and interest that I've gotten has just skyrocketed. And I think it's just because people can feel that I'm doing something that I want to be doing, that I'm excited about, and they get a taste of that energy and they want to be a part of it, just like you said. I mean, when I was selling, you know, HR platforms or AI sales solutions and things like that, nobody really took time out of their day to encourage and support me. I mean, people would buy the product, but that had nothing to do ultimately with me. It had to do with the value of the product. Since I've started this podcast, I've had, you know, second, third degree connections, people I've never met before go, hey, I saw your post, I read your about section. It really resonated with me. I've gone through similar things. Just wanted to say, appreciate what you're doing. Keep going. And that is the response that I needed to go, okay, I'm on the right path.
Where do you see yourself? Where do you see this podcast a year from now, Jess?
Yeah, a year from now, I just want to keep having great guests, more listeners, supporting more people in highlighting their story in a way that matters to them and to their audience. So really doing more of the same, just on a bigger and bigger scale.
Yeah. Were you reluctant to step into the podcast game when you did so a few weeks ago, knowing how crowded the field is?
No, not at all. I mean, 2016, 17, I had thought about starting a podcast. Everybody said that it was saturated. I follow new podcasts that started since then. Like, and everybody has this experience, right? And when you look at the numbers, depending on where you look, it appears to continue growing between 20 and 30% a year, the podcast industry. So yeah, there's a lot of people in the space because it's a great model. And I think differentiation and niching down are really important. One of the things I'm thankful for in my business career is having some perspective on how to do that, how to select a small enough, consolidated enough audience market segment in the beginning that I can really get saturation with a smaller group of people and then grow from there. So for me, my network is highly concentrated around technology, revenue professionals, marketers, salespeople, customer success people. So I speak that language. I'm very familiar with it. I understand these people. I'm one of these people. I've been doing this job for a long time. And so there's no friction between me and the audience in that sense. A lot of folks already know who I am. I know who they are. And so I can tell those stories really well. And I'm proud to do that. It's an honor to do that. Over the next year, to actually get back to your earlier question, what I'd like to do is fully kind of own this audience, really capture a lot of it, and then start to move to adjacent audiences. I mean, I'd love to have athletes. I'd love to have academics with interesting ideas, musicians, artists. Would be great to have them on the pod as well.
Nicole?
No, I love it. I love what you said in the beginning, Jesse, how you were kind of like, when I get to this number or when I get to this year, like I'll start doing the thing. Because I think a lot of us get caught up in that and always kind of waiting. And I love that you just kind of pointed out that, I mean, life is really short. So I hope that inspired someone to maybe like, okay, I can take a step, and kind of like what Shannon said when she got off, like take one little step today to work towards your dreams, whatever that is. I love that message.
It's about getting going. And Jesse, you just started going, right?
Exactly.
And I'm watching you're clearly building in public too.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is the thing. Done is better than perfect. This is my motto as I go forward, right? So I shot 4 episodes in the first week and a half since announcing the podcast. Was the first episode perfect? No. Was the second episode a little bit better? Yes. Still not perfect. The third episode, a little bit better. Well, it's like, what am I going to do? You have to start. So yeah, that's totally fine. No episode is ever going to be perfect. My goal is to get incrementally better a little bit every day, have a growth mindset, do some jeffing, and keep rowing in the right direction.
Yeah. You have the right attitude. I know that when I started my journey at this, I had an ambition to get everything perfect on day 1, and then quickly realized on day 2 that wasn't going to happen. Right. But the point was, we just started. Like, if you go back to first show, Jess, and you go back to today's show, it's a complete 360 degrees, because every single day we just got better and learned something. No different than I'm looking at your post right now, which is, what I learned after spending 10 hours recording and editing your podcast, right? What's been so here's a question actually for both you guys, Nicole and Jess, and I'll even answer it. What's been the most important thing you both have learned about doing a podcast? Jess, you first.
Yeah. So, I mean, from a personal critique standpoint, I can't believe how many long pauses I have when I talk. I'll start and I'll stop and I'll start and I'll stop, and I'll kind of draw some stuff out. And, Keith, you've got a great radio voice. You clearly have some experience here. So it's something for me to learn from. And it was great to watch some of your episodes on YouTube the other day. So yeah, that's something that I have to work on. The other thing though, is just getting people comfortable is so important, and setting expectations and letting guests know that you're there to support them. And it's your job to frame the conversation in a way that they feel ready to express themselves. And so what I've been doing in the intro calls is just telling people, look, this is your podcast, and it's my job to set you up for a slam dunk here. And I also let people know, look, we can record for 2 hours. We can record for an hour, get a ton of content out there. If you're not comfortable with some of it at the end of the day, that's totally fine, and I can cut it. And that just gives people the permission to go, okay, we're going to go for it. So that's some of the stuff I've learned.
Yeah. What about you, Nicole?
Yeah, I say awesome a lot. That's the word that I go to, which is super annoying. And yeah, edit that out a lot. But yeah, it's for me personally, it was getting out of my comfort zone, but which is, just has helped with other things. But yeah, connecting with people across the world, it's just been so neat. Learning their stories, why they get out of bed, doing what they do. It's just so inspiring. And to be able to just kind of what you're doing, share their stories, that's just been amazing.
It's true. I've learned to embrace the flaws that happen on my show. You know, I notice I say yeah a lot, but you know, it's fun. I make some fun of it now. The biggest thing I have learned as a human being has been how fulfilling it is to listen, and how fulfilling it is to throw a question out and just zip your mouth and listen. And I've had to learn how to become a better listener by being on this show for a real simple, tactful reason, Jesse. When I'm looking to create post-show content, if I'm speaking over top of you, it doesn't make good post-show content. So I really work hard at asking a question, pausing, giving room for the answer, and then finding cues with my guests, with my hands and with my eyes, to suggest to them that I want to interject or I want to respond, so I don't have to over-talk them. You follow me?
That's really interesting. I haven't even thought of that. Yeah, there's totally visual body language cues and kind of phrasing cues that you can give people to let them know that you're passing them the ball. I'm gonna have to think about that a little bit.
Yeah, me too.
It's true, because I've learned with some guests, and I'm sure you both have learned this, Jesse and Nicole. And here's a note for every podcast guest I'm going to give you all from somebody who does this show every single day. Don't just talk forever. We as hosts do not like diarrhea of the mouth guests. Nope. No. Conversation is a two-way thing. It is not a Jesse come on show and talk at Keith and Nicole, and Keith and Nicole do this.
Right.
Well, I drink in my closet while they talk. So
because the audience doesn't want to hear that. Audience wants to hear engagement. Audience wants to hear back and forth.
Conversation.
They do. Right. So the biggest thing I learned is, Jesse, is give the room for the audience to speak, and do your best as a host to bring them back and have them stop talking when they're talking too much. So Jess, where can LinkedIn Nation find you? I'm sticking real tight to our schedule this morning. We got 3 minutes before we wrap it up, and I'll tell you why. Because my goal is to get it on the loop here at 8 o'clock in 8 minutes from now. We're getting really good at that, because I think what's going to happen here, Nicole Bernard, I was thinking about this last night. I suspect we're going to be starting an hour or two here at some point in the future live, because there's demand for people wanting to come on the show. So, which means we're going to have to change my routine and everything. But that's a whole nother day. Jesse Marseille, how can people find you as a creator, and how can they work with you, and how can they get on your show?
Yeah, absolutely. Come find me on LinkedIn. You just have to search for my name, Jesse Marseille. You can also find the Storytelling at Scale podcast with their Google search, on YouTube, or on all of the standard podcast platforms. The first few episodes are already up on Spotify and Amazon and all of that. I believe Apple podcasts are going to take another week or so to sync. They're a little bit slower. But yeah, best place to message me is definitely on LinkedIn, just by searching my name. I would love to have any of you on the show. That would be great.
Awesome. I could not encourage you enough to connect to Shannon Houchin. We have had a lot of great guests through this show and through my show. And I know Nicole has as well, which I think you would find some really incredible people to go connect with.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you know Cameron Haynes at all? He lives in your area. Have you heard of him?
I wish I knew him personally. Totally follow the guy.
Yes, I'm trying to find someone that knows him. He's awesome. He's a bow hunter, Keith, here in Oregon, and he just does like ultra marathons on like a Tuesday morning, like for no reason, to train for elk season. He's incredible, and his book's amazing. It's called Endure. If y'all haven't read it, it's awesome.
And what's his name?
Cameron Haynes.
All right, Cameron Haynes, we want to have you on the show. So if somebody out there knows Cameron Haynes, anybody knows Cameron Haynes, because I'm suspecting Nicole and Jesse, the more people we keep connecting with, eventually somebody's going to know somebody who's going to know somebody to say, hey, Goggins, yeah, Bernard and Bilous want you on the show. All right, I'll go get on that fucking show. Right? Or hey, Rogan, yeah, Bilous and Bernard want you on the show. So we keep showing up every single day. Eventually somebody's going to go, these people won't go away. They won't go away until you come on their show. Right? All right, let's wrap her up. Jesse Marseille, thanks for jumping in for a creator spotlight today. We're still figuring out this whole, like you, we're building in the open. So I appreciate you enlightening us with your story, enlightening us with your presence. And I can tell you, man, as an OG of the show, here's what happens. We're going to cut this up. We're going to give it to you. We're going to put it on the socials. And then what probably is going to happen is we're probably going to invite you back a number of times. And we're probably going to talk about you a lot now, too, because you're like, hey, I want to commit to Keith and Nicole. So we tend to commit back to our guests as well.
Amazing. Well, this has been a ton of fun. Thank you both a lot.
Awesome. I appreciate that.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, Jesse Marseille, LinkedIn creator. You can find him at Jesse Marseille, telling stories with real people. He has an incredible podcast with incredible human beings where I know when you listen to it, you'll be inspired to do something, just like Shannon Houchin. Jess, come back and see us again, okay?
All right. Sounds good, my friends. See you later.
Thanks, pal.
Bye.
All right, Nicole, we are wrapping up episode 18 again. We're wrapping up today's show. What a good one today.
Yeah, dude, it flew by. It's crazy when you have amazing guests like that.
It did fly by, yes. I'm admittedly still learning how this is all going to work, but I think it went pretty well.
I think so too. Yeah.
It went pretty well.
So, and now we have like 2 people to just like tell the world about more often. You know?
Exactly correct. Exactly correct. So I suspect what y'all are going to see, you're going to see content from the Shannon Houchin conversation. You're going to see content from the Jesse Marseille conversation to capture today. And before we go, Nicole, why don't I just throw this on the screen so I can tell the nation what's coming up here later today in a couple of hours, which is surfer strategist Jeremy Ryan joining.
I love your new video. I mean, I know you showed it the other day, but it's awesome.
Yeah, we got a brand new opener for the show, and we got a closer on for the show too. So brand new, production's increasing, just like Jesse said, right? 1% better every single day.
Yep, it's true.
That's it.
That's all you can do.
Hey, quickly, before we go, how are your cheeseburgers last night?
Oh my God, amazing. And Caroline loved it. We made double patties. So yeah, she got the whole American experience. It was awesome.
Awesome. I crushed 3 last night at the local Sal's. I'll talk more about that tomorrow with you. Let's get out of here. How's your day shaping up?
Good. I'm actually working on my business things. So I'm pretty excited about that. Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. Nicole, we'll chat through you. We'll talk to you throughout the day. Business Athlete Nation, you all have a great day today. Remember what we did talk about. There's going to be some challenges that are going to come up throughout your day today and tomorrow and the next week. And if, not to preach, but if you can find a way to anticipate the challenge, knowing it's going to happen, it might find a way for you to react to the challenge. So we'll leave that with you there. Shannon Houchin, thanks for joining us today. Jesse Marseille, thanks for joining us today. Nicole Bernard, always thank you for joining us today. We'll see you later, okay? Awesome. Talk to you later. See you guys. Bye-bye.